what appeals to our base for some primary several years from now is not what I'm worried about. What I'm worried about is how do we solve real problems. And my gut is that at the end of the day, that's what people are looking for in a next national leader as well. So for my colleagues who are hoping that they might be on the ticket in 2020, I don't think simply moving further and farther to the left is the best way to accomplish that.
So that was our next guest, Senator Chris Coons, speaking yesterday with Casey Hunt after several of his Democratic colleagues voted no to reopening the government. Among them were some of the party's rumored 2020 presidential hopefuls, including Senators Cory Booker, Kirsten Gillibrand, Kamala Harris, Bernie Sanders, and Elizabeth Warren. And Senator Chris Coons of Delaware joins us now. Is it fair to say you're concerned some are more interested in their own political futures than the issues at hand?
Well, look, Mika, I work in Washington. I work in the United States Senate. And the old joke is that every senator gets up in the morning and looks in the mirror and says, "Good morning, Mr. President." And that I serve with dozens of people who think that they, too, could be president someday. And given the dysfunction and at times even the chaos that President Trump has caused in our Capitol this past year, it's easier than ever to understand why many of my colleagues think they could do a better job. In the interview with Casey, what I was trying to focus on was being positive about the bipartisan working group that spent all weekend working together to come to a stronger agreement about moving forward on DACA and border security, and how my growing confidence in the Republicans in that group led me to believe we really have a chance at fixing this problem. And I do think the average American, if we had a government shutdown that had lasted as long as it did in 2013, would have just been disgusted with all of us. And when we do things in Washington collectively that lead the average American to change the channel and say a pox on all your houses, that's not good for the country. It's not good for our party. And I think it just drives us farther apart. So I was trying to be positive about the prospects now for a real vote on the floor of the Senate on immigration for the first time in 5 years.
Well, and Senator, how could even the most progressive members of your caucus who want to represent your party as the presidential nominee in 2020, how could they not celebrate the fact that in exchange for keeping the government open for 3 weeks, you were able to get health care for 9 million of the most truly disadvantaged children across America and get that funding over 6 years? What progressive would not call that a victory?
Well, Joe, I do think getting CHIP, the Children's Health Insurance Program, reauthorized and funded for 6 years, something that has been lapsed for months now, was a big step forward. But frankly, I think everybody in our caucus knows that there remain several other important things not addressed. Community health centers, disaster relief. Remember the hurricane damage that Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands and Florida and Texas is suffering through. Funding for the opioid crisis and addressing DACA and border security. My hope is that with this new opening in the next 17 days, we will negotiate a solution to all of these.
Yeah. Senator, those are still on the table, and Mitch McConnell only got an additional 3 weeks. It's not like you had to give any of those up. There's a 3-week extension, and this morning, 9 million children from the least advantaged homes in America know they're going to have health care reform. How is that a loss if you didn't give anything up but 3 weeks?
And we gained a commitment by Majority Leader McConnell on the floor with specificity that by February 8th, there will be a vote on the floor of the Senate on DACA and border security, and that debate will begin with a neutral base bill. There was a lot of concern, given his initial wording, where he said it is my intention to move to immigration, that what we would have gotten on February 8th is he'd put a bill by Cotton and Perdue on the floor. We'd have one up and down vote, and that's it. And he would have kept his commitment, and we'd move on. So the actual wording that he said on the floor yesterday mattered to the bipartisan group that was trying to move us forward to a real debate that could resolve our unaddressed issues here. The larger issue for all of us, Joe, is that we still don't have an agreement on increasing spending for our defense and domestic needs. We're still under the budget agreement caps We still don't have a resolution to appropriations. That's one of the most urgent things we're going to work on these next 2 weeks.
Senator Coons, it's Willie Geist. Good to see you this morning. I want to go back to what you were talking about there with the DACA commitment made by Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. Those colleagues you were just talking about, Kamala Harris, Bernie Sanders, Kirsten Gillibrand, Elizabeth Warren, they say they just don't trust that commitment. They needed something more concrete on the question of protecting DACA recipients. And that's something that a lot of progressives and Democrats watching the show will feel as well. Why did you all trust? Why did you all make this deal predicated on a promise from Mitch McConnell about DACA instead of getting it done right here and now as part of that spending resolution?
I understand the skepticism that many in my caucus and in the country feel, because there have been some instances recently where it was reported that promises were made to specific senators and they were not kept. I have growing confidence in the group of Republican senators that were meeting with a group of Democrats for several days. We spent hours, I think a total of 8 hours together, fairly intensively over 3 days. And I believe that they are committed, several of them intensely committed, to moving this issue forward in a positive way and to working together to get 60 votes. Leader McConnell has given us time on the floor and has made his commitment in such a public way. I find it hard to believe that he would walk that back, because he's making that commitment to key members of his own caucus, both privately and publicly. And at the end of the day, I was convinced we were not going to get more from him than that commitment, and that it was time to move forward.
Casey.
Senator Coons, good to see you again. The New York Times is reporting this morning that activists were on a call yesterday, and several of them expressed anger with Senator Amy Klobuchar, who is one of the people who is in the room with you, because they feel as though she betrayed progressive values. They're talking about potentially primarying her, and that this potentially could spread across the map as well. Do you think Democrats are facing a potential insurrection like the one Republicans faced in 2010? And what do you say to those activists?
Boy, I certainly hope not. Although when I look back at the division in the Republican Party in 2010, I'm grateful, because it was a Tea Party primary here in Delaware that made it possible for me to be in the United States Senate. So I'll say to Democrats, if you want to lose a guaranteed safe seat, have the kind of senseless, divisive primaries that happened here in Delaware and prevented beloved former Congressman and Governor Mike Castle from being the Republican nominee in 2010. I'll also say that Amy Klobuchar is firmly committed to making progress and making a difference. If that's not advancing progressive values, I don't know what is. She pitched in and worked tirelessly, was one of the real leaders of this group, and I think is wholeheartedly behind solving these problems. That's the kind of leader I think folks are looking for, and I don't think it's a betrayal of progressive values deserving of a primary to work tirelessly to try and advance one of the more divisive issues in our country, which is addressing immigration.
All right, Senator Chris Coons, thank you so much. Good to have you on the show.